Good morning. Welcome to Browncroft. So great to have you with us this morning. We are going to start off, we're in the middle of this series on the Lord's Prayer, and we're going to continue doing what we've done the last couple weeks, which is actually start off by reading the Lord's Prayer together. So if you wouldn't mind just standing where you're at and turn your attention to the screen, and we will read this prayer that Jesus gave us together. All right. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Thank you. You can be seated. All right. This prayer, very familiar to many of us, has been given to us by Jesus for a particular reason. Jesus wants us to internalize his values into our core. If I were to ask you the question, what do you think the main values of Jesus are, what would you respond with? What do you think Jesus would say his main value is? Love, right. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. Jesus says this is the greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. It just so happens this prayer that he gives us is actually set up to remind us of those two things. So the last 2 weeks, we have looked at the first part of the prayer, which is Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done. It's all about God. And now we're transitioning to the second phase, which is all about our relationships with each other. One of the things that you'll notice about this prayer is the word my is not in this prayer. It's interesting. Was Jesus not able to say the word me or my? Or was there perhaps a different reason why he chose the word our in here? He says, Our Father, give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts. The fact is, this prayer is designed to be a corporate prayer for us. It's to remind us of our place in the family of Jesus. This isn't simply about me and my needs. This is about us together. So we approach it that way. So to remind you where we've been, in the first week, Pete talked about our Father who is in heaven, having the idea that God is our Father. That's the building block that this whole prayer is built off of. For Jesus, the idea of God as Father was central to his ministry. So for us, as his followers, the relationship with us as God, as our Father, is central to us, to really believe that God is our Father. Last week, Kelly built on that. So this prayer, you're going to notice, builds on itself. Last week, Kelly talked about your kingdom come, your will be done. So our Father is not just this Father in theory. He's actually a king with a kingdom. And he invites us to be a part of that kingdom by restoring the world into the way that he has in mind for the world. That's a dramatic way of looking at things. And now, this week, we head into give us this day our daily bread. In order to showcase this a little bit, I brought something. As I sometimes do. Here we are. The finest bread that's ever been created in the history of the human race, Wegmans Tuscan garlic bread. Yes. Yes. Oh. Heaven will be full of this stuff. Warm, out of the oven. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'll be able to eat whole loaves because I won't have diabetes, so it's going to be great. The oil is still on my hands right now. It's going to be all on this table. It's good. It's good. This is a reminder of God's goodness to us, the bread. As I think about bread, it's the building block of life wherever you go around the world. Still, even to this day, places all over the world, in order to have life, to sustain life, you have bread. Bread. It's a cornerstone no matter where you go. And Jesus wants us to internalize this, that the source of life, we can depend on God for our source of life day after day after day. So I'm going to ask you a question as I start. And I want you to really think about this question. What is it that you need? What is it that you need? Some of us, right off the bat, boom, you know. For some of us, it might be, how's the bills going to get paid this month? How is food going to get on the table? For some of us, it's healing. I just need healing right now. For some of us, it's even deeper than that. I need hope. I need courage. I need peace in my life. If you're honest, what is it that you need? I want you to have that in the back of your mind, represented by this loaf. Just keep thinking about it over the course of this time that we share together today. Well, as Jesus' first followers were listening to him recite this prayer, I think we have to put ourselves in the mindset of what they would have been thinking. When they heard this line, "Give us this day our daily bread," what would they have thought about as followers of him? They were all from Israel. They had all grown up in the Hebrew tradition. And my guess is the thing that would have stood out to them immediately would have been manna, the story of manna. For those of you who don't know it, the people of Israel, their central story, the one that maybe defined them more than any other story, is being enslaved in Egypt for 400 years and God rescuing them out of the slavery of Egypt. And God says, through Moses to Pharaoh, let my people go. And eventually, after a bunch of plagues and going through the Red Sea, they find themselves in the wilderness on the other side, and they're getting ready to march toward the promised land, but they start complaining. And they go, "Moses, you brought us out here to kill us." And they start saying, if we would have just stayed in Egypt, yeah, we'd have been slaves, but at least we'd have had food to eat. And Moses goes to God and says, "God, these people are complaining already. I don't know what to do." And God says, "I'm going to provide for them." In the story of manna, Exodus 16, if you're note takers, Exodus 16 is this story of which God says, "I'm going to provide day after day for my people." And so he showers down bread from heaven. Every morning they would get up and they would collect this flaky bread that tasted like honey, and it was so weird looking that the word manna actually sounds like the Hebrew for "what is it?" They were like, "What is this?" And every morning, God would provide them what they needed to make it through. Every morning. And he said, "Don't collect any more than you need. Just trust me every day." The exception would be on the Sabbath. I want you to collect twice as much, and you can rest that day. And I want you to trust me day after day after day. That image, I think, would have popped into Jesus' listeners' minds. But Jesus goes on, and I think he redefines this manna moment, if you will, for his followers, because there's one miracle that's recorded in each of the Gospels, aside from the resurrection of Jesus, which is the feeding of the 5,000. Every Gospel writer records this parable. But before I even get into that, I think there's something that we need to reflect on about this daily surrender to Jesus. I love the way Francis Chan says it. He's an author, a pastor. I just think he's an all-around great guy. And he says this about this concept of daily bread. Truth is, I think if God just gave us our daily bread, many of us would be angry. That's all you're going to give me? You're just going to give me enough to sustain me for today? What about tomorrow or next year or 10, 20, 30 years from now? I want to know that I'm set up. And yet Jesus says, just pray for your daily provisions. Anybody else resonate with that? I do. Because I would love it if I logged onto my 401k and it was like, oh my goodness, there's millions of dollars in there. That's awesome. I'm just going to retire right now. That's fantastic. Or I went into the fridge every morning and it was always stocked. I could just open the fridge and there was always the right food there. That would be fantastic. That would be great. I never had to go to Wegmans again. Or even deeper than that, I would love it if every day I woke up and I'm like, wow, I just have all the peace and courage and hope and everything I need. I got it all right now, right out of the gate. The truth is, I need God every single day. As soon as my feet hit the floor, I need him more and more every day. So what does Jesus want to tell us about this? Let's look at the feeding of the 5,000 story from Matthew. This is Matthew's version of it. Matthew 14, 16 to 21. His disciples go to him in the wilderness, so it's similar. All the people are gathered there, and they're like, Jesus, send these people home because we don't have enough food out here to feed them. So send them all out of here. And Jesus is like, nah, I'm going to show you something about my character. I'm going to show you something. This is a lesson for you, actually, out here. And here's what Jesus says. Jesus replies, they do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they answered. Bring them here to me, he said. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So did Jesus just barely scrape by when he provided? He actually gave leftovers on top of it, 12 baskets of leftovers. What's Jesus saying here? What's maybe the point of this passage? Jesus has more than enough to meet all our needs. Really internalize that. Jesus has more than enough to meet all our needs. And notice I use the word our again in this passage because it's about us collectively. It's not just about me. It's about our needs collectively. Jesus has more than enough to meet all of our needs. Well, directly after this prayer, Jesus gives us another little hint about what he means by the prayer, what he wants us to do with this prayer. And so in Luke's version of the Lord's Prayer, he gives this story at the other end. I love when Jesus wants us to really internalize something. He doesn't give us like a handbook and say, memorize the handbook. He gives us a story, because he knows the story is going to sink into our hearts as well. And so here's the story that Jesus gives after the Lord's Prayer. Luke 11, 5-10. Jesus says this. Then Jesus said to them, suppose you have a friend and you go to him at midnight and say, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. A friend of mine on a journey has come to me and I have no food to offer him. And suppose the one inside answers, don't bother me. The door is locked, already locked. My children and I are in bed. A lot of us would probably respond that same way. I can't get up and give you anything. I tell you, even though he will not get up and give you the bread because of friendship, yet because of your shameless audacity, he will surely give up and give you as much as you need. You can almost see Jesus kind of like smiling as he's telling this story. Like, you guys get it, right? So, I say to you, ask and it will be given you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For anyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened. There's one phrase in here that I think is central to the whole thing. And I didn't really think about it until I started studying it a little bit. But the one phrase that Jesus uses in here is shameless audacity. Shameless, because of his shameless audacity, he will get what he wants. And I think that's the point of what Jesus is saying. It's okay to have that attitude of shameless audacity with God. He actually wants us to have that attitude with him. Not just it's okay, he wants that from us. So here's how I would summarize that. Jesus wants to know about our needs, wants to hear about our needs. Jesus wants to hear about our needs. Not just, he'll put up with it, but he wants to know it. I don't know if you have that vision of him. I don't know if I always have that vision of him, but he's saying that's what his attitude is toward us, and the Father's attitude is toward us, is he wants to hear our needs. So I thought about, okay, how do I illustrate this? What's an example from my life? And so I'm going to share with you all someone very close to me here. This is our dog, Delilah. There she is. Delilah, the 3-legged schnoodle, half schnauzer, half poodle. She's in our garden right here. She's 3-legged because she's a cancer survivor, live strong. And this is her. This is her. Now, here's an interesting story about her, or one of the things that she always does. Anybody here fans of the Costco rotisserie chicken? Yes, see hands all over the room. Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. You're one of my people then. The Costco rotisserie chicken, one of the best deals in town, that big, juicy rotisserie chicken, right? We use it $4.99. Come on. I'm going there. You got me every time. You got me on the Costco rotisserie chicken. So I'm there. And we get a couple of those bad boys a week. And so anytime Delilah hears the bag with the rotisserie chicken in it, it doesn't matter where she is in the house, you hear her, and she comes and will stand there right in the kitchen and just do this look. That look right there, I would like some chicken. And just keep on looking at you. And just keep on looking at, I would like some chicken. And just keeps on looking and I'm a sucker for this. I fall for it every time, because look at the face. How could you not fall for it? I fall for it every time. And here's your chicken. Now sit, and now, okay, now go get it. Get your chicken. And then she goes in the other room with her chicken and does her thing. It's shameless audacity. That's what she has. Shameless audacity to believe every time we get a rotisserie chicken out, she is going to get a piece of chicken. That's shameless audacity. She's not afraid to approach us and ask for it. So that's one illustration. But then I thought, okay, well, how about a person illustration? And it came to my mind about a story that's kind of legendary within my family. So I want to introduce you to my great-grandmother, okay? That's my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather right there on my dad's side from Italy. They immigrated, and they're really sturdy stock, happy people as well. They're just full of joy. Yeah. I guess if you had 10 kids, you would look this way too. They did have 10 kids, and full of joy. I can't wait till someday somebody's putting a picture of me up on a screen and saying, "This is my great-grandfather. I mean, look at this guy. Get a load of him in that crazy shirt." So anyway, my great-grandmother was the first person in our family, on my dad's side anyway, as far as we know, to decide to follow Jesus. And a traveling evangelist came to town, kind of a wild story. Traveling evangelist came to town. She had a very real encounter with Jesus that just was like, boom, I need to follow Jesus with my life. And it was a big change. Salesmen would come to the door. This is the legends that gets passed down from generation to generation. She's like 4'11", okay? So you got this little Italian lady, and she would ask salesmen when they come to the door, "Do you know of the Jesus?" And they would say, yeah, I know Jesus. And she would be like, "You don't know of the Jesus." She'd get, kind of mad. But she had this passion to pray for her family. So she wanted to pray all the time. And so she would pray, "Jesus, my family needs to know you." And so she prayed year after year. No answer to prayer. No answer to prayer. Year after year after year. Until finally, one of my uncles becomes a Christian. My grandmother becomes a Christian. It starts happening throughout the family. People decide to follow Jesus with their lives. And she just continued to be this prayer warrior on behalf of her family. My dad became a pastor. My uncle became a pastor. Now I'm her great-grandkid. She has another great-grandkid in Orlando, Florida right now. He's a pastor. I'm the result of her prayers, praying. I worked alongside of a guy in college ministry. We didn't even know this when we started working together, but we found out that we had common ancestry, and guess what? It was this woman right here. He's now the pastor of Pittsford Community Church down the road. This woman's prayers are still being answered today. That's shameless audacity. That's shameless audacity. That's how God wants to show up. So, we all, though, have this desire, I think, for God to meet our needs, but there's an equal desire, and that's that we're going to take matters into our own hands. Think about Jesus' first temptation. The temptation, the devil brings Jesus out into the wilderness. Again, you get these wilderness themes and these bread themes throughout the Bible. You have the devil bringing Jesus out into the wilderness. What's the first thing that the devil asks Jesus to do when he tempts him? Anybody know? Yes. He says, "Turn these stones into bread." Right? What's the devil asking Jesus to do? He's saying, don't trust God. You can take matters into your own hands. Short circuit God's process and do it on your own. And Jesus refuses that temptation. But how many of us want to short circuit God's plan and do it on our own instead? I got to say, it's kind of the American way, right? It's kind of what we're told to do in the American way. But Jesus says no. As a matter of fact, Jesus says this about himself then. John 6:35, maybe the pinnacle of this whole thing. Then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never go thirsty. I am the bread of life. I am the source of life. That's what Jesus is saying. Jesus is our source of life. Jesus is our source of life. Do you get it up here? But do you get it in here? For some of us, this dynamic is hard to get it from up here to here. I struggle with that. I'm not a math guy, okay? I'm not a math guy. There's plenty of math people in here, but I thought of this formula. I think other people have said this formula before, maybe it was just in the back of my head, but I thought it was worthy of discussing together, to showing you all together today. So here's my formula, okay? Everything, you could have everything, all the world, minus Jesus equals nothing. Everything. All the wealth you want, all the fame you want, everything else, in the end, minus Jesus equals nothing. Inversely, right, Maria? Yes? Maria, yes. Because I said conversely before, and Maria was like, technically, mathematically, that's wrong. It's inversely. So, thank you, Maria. Thank you. That was very helpful for me. And as not a math person. So, anyway, she loves being called out too. So, anyway, nothing plus Jesus equals everything. Nothing, I don't have anything, but I got Jesus. That's everything. Because here's the fact. Everybody in this room, no exceptions, all of us will come to the place one day when we will have nothing. Maybe it's in a hospital bed. Maybe it's in your home. Maybe it's surrounded by family. Maybe it's tragically in another way. But each person in this room will come to a place where you have nothing left. None of us takes anything with us. As the old saying goes, hearses don't carry U-Hauls behind them. There will be some day when each one of us has nothing. And the only thing that will matter in that moment is, do you have Jesus? Each of us. And that's the most important thing, not only for that day, but for this day. Not only for that future time, but for this time. Do we have Jesus? I struggle with this concept of daily bread. I don't like it any more than anybody in this room. I don't like it at all. And there's times in my life where I go through like seasons of doubt and confusion and God, how are you going to show up? And I was going through a time recently where I was kind of having this, kind of slight argument with God. And I've been praying in the mornings. I've been trying to incorporate this concept of daily bread into my prayers. And it's this non-fancy way of doing it, okay? So here's exactly what I do in my morning prayer time. I sit there and I go, okay, Jesus, daily bread. I just say the words daily bread. And then I'm like, and I wait to kind of go, okay, what is it that I need to bring before Jesus today? And some days it's this person pops into my mind, or this meeting, or this thing that I have coming up. And Jesus, I just need you. And sometimes it's just like, Jesus, I need hope right now. If I'm honest with you, that's what I really need. So, I don't know, the week we started this series, I was just showing up on Monday, and Peter Englert is outside of my office, and he says, hey, there's a guy here, and he just wanted to pray in the prayer room. You might want to check in on him. I got another meeting, and I said, okay, that's fine. So I gave him a few moments just to be by himself, and I eventually went in and walked into the the prayer room. I knocked and just opened the door. And I said, hey, I heard you just wanted a place to pray. I'm here. I'd love to pray with you if you want, or we can just, you could just talk. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'd love to talk. And I hear his story. So now here's the thing. This is not a John story. I want that to be very clear. This is not a John story. This is a God story. John did one thing. He opened the door, okay? That's it. So I listened to him, and he just starts sharing his life. I'm in a really bad spot. I basically lost everything because of addiction, and I'm headed to rehab because this is my last shot. But before I did, I just wanted a church to go in to pray in. And I was like, wow. So we talked, and I found out some more about his life, and I just kind of tried to speak a little bit about Jesus into his life. And at the end, I just felt like he was tracking, and so I said, do you want me to pray with you? What would it be like if I prayed? And you could pray too if you want. And he said to me, actually, yeah, I'd like that. But could we pray the Our Father together? Which, if you grew up Catholic, is the Lord's Prayer. And I was like, well, that's quite something, because we're just starting something about this. Yeah, let's do that. So we prayed that prayer together, and then afterwards I prayed the prayer over him. I just prayed parts of the Lord's Prayer over him. And then he followed it up with just expressing his whole heart to Jesus. And he just said, Jesus, I'm sitting there going, what is happening right now? I did not do anything. It was kind of weird taking it all in. And he's like, Jesus, my whole life is yours from here on out. I have just totally made a mess of everything, and I just want to surrender everything to you. So from this day forward, I choose to live for you and not myself. Everything I have is yours, so whatever you want from me, I'll do. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And we gave each other hugs as he was leaving, and it hit me in the moment, that was just as much for me as it was for him. It was just as much for me as it was for him. I needed that. I needed to see God at work, because God was like, John, I'm not limited by anything. I can do whatever I want to do, and I'll bring someone here just to let you know that I'm at work. And for him, God's at work in his life. It's a beautiful thing. God's doing things in his life that are amazing. And daily bread. Daily bread. That's what God wants for each of us, that kind of dependence on him. You could be at rock bottom this morning. You might be in that spot where you're like, oh my goodness, I just need Jesus because my life is in shatters. Or you may be in a spot where you're like, I just need Jesus as much as I've ever needed Jesus. And I need hope, courage, peace, faith today like I've always needed it. So here's what I'd like to do to end today. I realize we're all in different spots, and for some of us, we might want to just say, you know what, this has been great, and I'll continue to reflect on it throughout the week. And if that's you, that's great. I'm gonna close us in prayer, and you can feel free to exit. Some of us might want to linger for a little bit and go, Jesus, where do you want to meet me today? And just ask him that question. So there's a couple minutes, just ask him that question. Jesus, where do you want to meet me today? Or tell him what your needs are. And for the rest of us, there might be a good number of people, I'm guessing, in this room who want to pray, other people to pray for them. Give us this day our daily bread. You might want to have just someone else pray for a specific thing in your life. I need God to show up in this way. And so we're going to have elders, staff, prayer people just down here in the front, just praying words over you, just praying for you and joining with you in this. So I'm going to invite the elder staff to come forward even now. If you're going to pray for people, come right on down. Thanks. And I'm going to take these moments just to quiet our hearts before the Lord and just ask him to move in whatever way he wants. So, Jesus, we are grateful that you are our source of life. We can go to you every day, and you want to give us what we need. Lord, you want us to be just shameless about the way that we approach you. So, Lord, I pray that in these moments, for everybody here, Lord, I pray that we would be surrendered to you. For people who maybe have never even come to the place where they've said, Jesus, here's my life, I pray that today would be the day where they experience that maybe for the first time. For others, Lord, maybe who we have made that decision, Lord, I pray that today would be a day where we meet you in a fresh way. I pray that your Spirit would be alive and well and at work. And Lord, for all of us, that over the course of today and this week, we would experience you as our daily bread. Thank you, Lord. In your name, I pray. Amen.